What if the data centers are a cover for a global water grab? As I sit here and take in all of the news from every direction, all I see is deceivers, liars, corporate media, cover-ups, agenda, all pushing the same propaganda. It's time for a game changer, a visionary, an innovative person who changes the way that people think of the situations. It's time for Game Changer TV, telling it like it is. Get in the game. Strap in for this one. Thank you for tuning in to Game Changer TV. I'm your host, Terry Lynn, and this is the channel where every day we're telling it like it is. Today is July 5th, 2026, and we're hearing about the data centers and how much water they're going to consume and the droughts that they're creating. But what if the data centers are really a water grab? What is a water grab by a government or private company? A water grab refers to the controversial appropriation, diversion, or reallocation of water resources such as rivers, aquifers by governments or private companies. This shifts water from a shared public resource into a commodity controlled by powerful entities, which can often deplete local ecosystems and deprive communities of their livelihoods. Are y'all ready? Is this a power grab for our water? Are lakes and cities with data centers experiencing drought? Yes. Research shows that about 2/3 of planned AI data centers are situated in areas already experiencing drought or high water stress, with data centers consuming up to 3 to 5 million gallons of water daily. Now, think of all the data centers around the United States, and each one can take up to 3 to 5 million gallons of water per day. Does this even seem right? So, we're going to think about some things. I'd like to see inside the data centers where the water holding tanks are. But let's just go along with their little game that they need 3 to 5 million gallons of water every day for every data center to cool the operations. Y'all, this does not even make any sense, okay? All the computer uses, all the technology uses. I worked in the 80s in the computer room, the big old huge massive computers that it was reel to reel tape logs, and you had to run tape jobs to print off the reports off of them. And I just cannot imagine these data centers needing 5 million gallons of water per day. But let's just go along with this, okay? And so they're saying because they're consuming so much water that it's creating drought in farmlands and vegetation. Data centers, drought, and decay, the triple threat pushing U.S. water systems to the brink. So we're being pushed to the brink by the consumption of these data centers. So then I said, do globalists want to save water? Yes. Globalist institutions such as the United Nations, international policymakers, and the global economic forums emphasize the critical need to save water. With billions of people facing global water shortages, these groups view water conservation as a fundamental priority. These groups view water conservation as a fundamental priority. That's allowing the operation of one data center to take between 3 million and 5 million gallons of water per day. And think of all the thousands of data centers around the United States. But they say they want to conserve water. And we've got these foolish little situations of water police patrol going around writing people tickets for bathing on too many days, for washing their car, for watering their plants. Do any of us use 5 million gallons of water per day? But we got the police out here policing us for washing too many clothes. While the same authorities are permitting companies to use 5 million gallons per day for each data center. Is this even making sense? Wait till we bring all this together. You're going to be floored. Trump just declared a food emergency a couple of days ago. But look at this from 2022. California lawmakers want to buy up the water rights and cut farming to stave off drought. Data center drought and decay. Y'all, there's about to be famine. From the University of Tulsa, data centers draining resources in water-stressed communities. But the government are allowing the construction of data centers? Do supercomputers and data centers require tons of gallons of our water system? Yes, modern supercomputers and large data centers require massive amounts of water, often millions of gallons, primarily to cool the thousands of servers needed for processing, particularly for AI workloads. A single large water-cooled data center can consume up to 5 million gallons of water per day, equivalent to the daily use of a town with 10,000 to 50,000 people. Yes or no? Do data centers use water from lakes for cooling? Yes. Some data centers use water from lakes for cooling, where these droughts are now happening. While most facilities rely on treated municipal water or groundwater, specific data centers utilize deep lake water cooling. For example, a large facility in Toronto uses deep lake water cooling system that circulates naturally cold water from the depths of Lake Ontario to absorb heat without evaporating the water. How do data centers access water that is pumped out? Most data centers access the water they need by connecting directly to municipal water lines, treated drinking quality tap water, or through on-site groundwater wells.
The question was asked is what's the water demand that's going to be required for the 2 units? Currently, we are looking at 4 million gallons a day. Now, I think it's really important when we say that is it is not a facility that is going to take 4 million gallons of water each and every day. We have other customers that everybody knows that are in the community, from wholesale customers to hospitals and other large infrastructure that uses a lot of water every day. Like when a data center is asking us about the availability of water a day, they're talking about water on the hottest day, not a year-round average. So the maximum demand is from each system right now is 4 million. 4 million.
4 million per day. Don't worry about it. Do data centers create water shortages? Yes, data centers can contribute to water shortages, particularly in areas that are already water stressed. Data centers require significant amounts of water for cooling, especially those using evaporative cooling systems. This can strain local water resources, potentially impacting communities and ecosystems. Y'all hear what I'm saying, okay? Wait till this comes together. They know it's going to take a lot of water, supposedly, but is this really a water grab? Denver is telling restaurants not to serve water in restaurants unless a customer asks for the water. But we got lakes drying up, bodies of water drying up in areas where they're building data centers, but you can't water your lawn or take a shower or get water at a restaurant.
So Corpus Christi, Texas is about to run out of water, literally, and we need to talk about this. Basically, Lake Corpus Christi and Choke Canyon are 8% full, meaning they're 92% empty at this point. And officials and engineers say that by December of 2026, there will be 180 days left of water for this community that serves 500,000 residents. And this is a story about how we have to pay attention to local officials and who we elect, because this has been a problem that's been brewing for decades of bad decisions, most recently over the last 10 years, with local officials courting major industries with ties to the oil industry and then allowing them to use upwards of 80% of all the water. Restrictions on water usage by the residents, and there have been zero restrictions on any of these industries.
And what if it's not really industries and data centers that are using the water or taking the water? What if this is a water grab to tokenize water? Because what's going on at the same time? The global elites are buying underground compounds. An increasing number of ultra-wealthy individuals and tech executives are investing in highly fortified luxury underground compounds to prepare for potential global catastrophes. Are underground cities being built? Not just a compound, but full underground cities. Yes, modern underground and subsurface cities are actively being built and expanded today, largely driven by the need to escape extreme surface temperatures, conserve natural landscapes, and maximize urban space. Now, what is really going on? What is really going on? Y'all remember the construction of the Greenbrier Motel that housed an underground bunker for the government, and how they hid the fact of what they were doing was constructing a wing on the already existing hotel so that people would only see the wing of a hotel being built. Is the data centers being built similar to the Greenbrier Motel cover story? Was the construction of the new wing of the Greenbrier Hotel really just a cover for what else was going on? Yes, the construction of the West Virginia wing at the Greenbrier Hotel in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, was an elaborate cover story. What if the data centers are a cover story? That's where the water is going. The above ground addition was built from 1959 to 1962 to mask the excavation and creation of a massive top secret nuclear fallout shelter hidden 720 feet underground. When a government is running a covert operation, do they give the appearance of another story up front when they're actually doing something else? Yes, governments actively establish a cover story, a completely false. When governments are doing something covert, they establish a covert cover story that is completely false. Governments actively establish a cover story, a completely false but verifiable narrative to conceal the true sponsor of an operation. This allows officials to maintain plausible deniability if the activity is exposed, masking covert actions that seek to influence foreign conditions. So, at the same time the data centers are being built and the water's disappearing, the global elites are building underground cities. Yes or no? Can underground cities siphon water from lakes above ground? Yes. Underground cities can draw and siphon water from above ground lakes by using gravity and sealed pipeline networks. So the oil industry might be using some of their pipelines that's been built. Who knows how this whole thing is working? Underground cities can draw and siphon from water from above ground lakes using gravity and sealed pipeline networks, provided the lake's water level is at a higher elevation than the destination. Siphons cannot pull water uphill, so they're down in the ground. The cities are below ground so they can absorb the water. How do data centers access the waters being pumped out? So, now we're moving back from the underground water that siphons water down. So if we just go along with their above ground stories, how would data centers siphon the water from lakes or places? Data centers typically access and process water using three primary methods, depending on their cooling infrastructure. Direct access via water mains, when the data centers hook up directly to municipal water. On-site extraction. Some facilities in remote or high demand areas operate underground water wells to pump water directly from underground aquifers. Closed loop and advanced liquid cooling. In closed loop systems, a dedicated coolant or water supply stays sealed within pipes and heat exchangers to avoid evaporation. So when you ask it straight out, how do they get the water? How is it being pumped out? They give you these three ways. But I ask, yes or no, can data centers pull water directly from lakes? Yes, data centers can and do pull water directly from lakes or reservoirs. Data centers can and do pull water straight from lakes and reservoirs, the same way that underground cities would take water. What if it's the cover story? What if data centers are the cover story for why the water is disappearing when the elites are really diverting it? What is a water grab by a government or private company? A water grab refers to the controversial appropriation, diversion, or reallocation of water resources such as rivers and aquifers by governments or private companies, and the world's richest people are underground, private companies. A water grab refers to the controversial appropriation, diversion, or reallocation of water resources, such as rivers and aquifers, by government or private companies. It shifts water from a shared public resource into a commodity controlled by the powerful elites, which can often deplete local ecosystems and deprive communities of their livelihoods. How would underground cities divert above ground water, lake water, to below ground to supply their city? An underground city would divert above ground lake water via gravity fed intake tunnels or high pressure pipelines. Water would flow through the deep shafts to subterranean water treatment plant, bypassing the water table through reinforced conduits to safely distribute pressurized water without flooding the habitable underground living spaces. Are lakes in cities with data centers the ones experiencing the drought? The cover story. The cover story. Are cities with the data centers the cities that are experiencing drought? Yes, lakes and reservoirs in cities with high concentrations of data centers are experiencing extreme stress. Roughly 2/3 of the new U.S. data centers are slated for drought plagued or water stressed regions. So, if they're water stricken regions, why would they be building data centers there when the globalists are supposedly water conservationists? So, why would they be permitted to build in a drought area? What if it's really the chicken coming before the egg, or the egg coming before the chicken? What came first, the chicken or the egg? What if they're really stealing the water, gaslighting you, and saying, oh, the data centers are in places where there was never water in the first place? But the data centers need water from lakes and reservoirs to cool it. So they are creating the drought and then selling the lie to the public that they were already in drought areas, when the water is really being allocated and diverted to the globalist elite who went underground. So I ask y'all to think about this. Are the data centers really needing water for cooling? Or is this a resource grab, a water grab for the elite, and going to create drought and famine and death for the people above ground? Depopulation is their goal. And then, if there's scarcity of water above ground and everything's going digital, and we're moving to a system where they want to control everything. If water is scarce and they tokenize water, only the compliant are going to be allowed to have any kind of water.
Is about to be the first country to tokenize our entire water supply.
Here's exactly what Donald Trump is talking about. The United States Water Reserve just announced at the G7 summit. And it's already on Coinbase, and they already have world leaders talking about this. The United States Water Reserve is a reserve for the United States' water. And the UN warns that AI will drink as much water by 1.3 billion people by the end of 2030. Look at all them G7 leaders. They agree on water infrastructure framework to follow the U.S.
Is about to be the first country to tokenize our entire water supply.
Why would a government tokenize water? Governments tokenize water by converting physical water volumes or rights into tradable digital assets on the blockchain. By digitizing this resource, God-given water, governments aim to overcome systemic management failures. Efficient allocation. Smart contracts can enforce distribution rules and automate usage caps. What if they are stealing our water for themselves and going to control everybody else's one little cup of water a day? What if this is a cover story? The data centers are a cover story to cover up the water grab that is happening right now.
They told you the data centers were for AI, but follow the water. Something about this feels very wrong. We're being told that giant corporations are spending hundreds of billions of dollars building massive facilities because artificial intelligence needs more computing power. That's the official explanation. But some people think that's only part of the story. While everyone is staring at AI, almost nobody is paying attention to what these facilities are consuming. Water, enormous amounts of water, and not just in one location. Across the country. At the same time, drought warnings are increasing, reservoirs are shrinking, temperatures are breaking records, and cities are openly discussing future water shortages.
Okay, if you want to see the water levels in Colorado, this is Dillon Reservoir. Are you sure we shouldn't be worried about the water levels?
Now ask yourself a simple question. If water is becoming more scarce, why are some of the largest companies on Earth racing to secure access to so much of it? The answer we're given is cooling. Servers generate heat. Data centers need water. Case closed. But that's not where the conspiracy ends. Because some people believe we are witnessing the early stages of a resource grab unlike anything in modern history. Not for oil, not for gold, not for land, for water.
Guys, I have been fishing the Rio Grande River for many years now, and I have never seen anything like this. In the last 4 years, the river has dried up pretty much to zero flow.
He said in the last 4 years.
Like this. In the last 4 years, the river has dried up.
So what happened in the last 4 years? Yes or no? Did the current construction of data centers begin about 4 years ago? Yes. The massive construction boom and surge in data center development tied to artificial intelligence truly kicked off around 2021 and 2022. 33. A psyop.
The Rio Grande River for many years now, and I have never seen anything like this. In the last 4 years, the river has dried up pretty much to zero flow, maybe 4 times in the last 4 years that I know of. But this is the first time I've ever got to experience it firsthand. I have pulled up nearly 100 pounds of dead fish just in one little spot. And this dryness stretches for about 5 to 10 miles, man. So this is just a fraction of the unalived fish out here. Some of these catfish are pretty big too. Not like the biggest I've ever seen or anything, nor caught, but gosh, good sized channel catfish. Gone to waste in the dried up Rio Grande. Oh, I'm not saying it's going to be the end of all fishing on the Rio Grande River, but it is just a sad sight when you're used to poking around in these spots, to see quality fish that didn't make it.
Think about it. Every person needs it. Every city needs it. Every farm needs it. Every country needs it. Civilizations can survive without oil. They cannot survive without water. That's why AI may be the perfect distraction, the perfect headline, the perfect excuse. While the public is arguing about chatbots, robots, and artificial intelligence, corporations are quietly positioning themselves near aquifers, reservoirs, and critical water infrastructure. The deeper you go down the rabbit hole, the stranger it gets. For years, we've been hearing warnings about water scarcity. We've been told climate pressures are increasing. We've been told demand is rising. And we've been told shortages may become more common. And yet, somehow the response seems to be building massive facilities that require even more water. That doesn't look like preparation for an AI boom. It looks like preparation for a future where whoever controls the water controls everything. History is full of wars fought over resources, but what happens when the resource is the one thing every human being needs every single day? What happens when water becomes more valuable than energy, more valuable than technology, more valuable than money itself? When powerful institutions start moving toward the same resource at the same time the public is being warned the resource could become scarce, people notice. The official story is that this is an AI revolution. The conspiracy theory is that AI is simply the cover story. And if the future really belongs to whoever controls the water, then the biggest resource grab of the century may already be happening in plain sight. Are they building the future of artificial intelligence or securing control of the future's most valuable resource? They told
So if there's scarcity and Trump is talking about tokenizing it, why would a government tokenize water? Governments tokenize water by converting the physical water volumes into tradable digital assets on the blockchain. And Trump is doing it.
Is about to be the first country to tokenize our entire water supply.
Here's a
Really, water to be prioritized over the globalist elite and not the poor peasants.
It now currently has 33 feet, and it's rapidly depleting as people are using the water. So what we have done, it started as a voluntary closure of businesses and telling residents to only use water for emergency things like hydrating yourself. What we are telling residents they should not be doing is laundry, certainly no irrigation of lawns.
Chain link. Y'all, does this sound like prisoners? Chain link, blockchain. This is from Chainlink. Tokenized water, digitizing water rights and credits. Tokenized water involves converting water rights or water conservation credits into digital tokens on the blockchain. This process transforms water into a liquid, tradable, real-world asset, enabling more efficient market allocation and transparent data verification.
Listen. So what if I told you that all the water drying up has nothing to do with data centers and has everything to do with them sucking all the water out of the aquifers so that they can sell it back to you? Check the stock market exchange.
This right here is the reason why all the water's being bought up. Quantum innovation. Donald Trump just signed an executive order to sign into law quantum innovations. You guys want to know what's happening with your water? Go look up the United States Water Reserve on Google and find out what are the billionaires doing. I'm going to tell you, they're buying up all the water to tokenize it in order to feed it to AI, because this is what AI needs in order to operate. Project right here has been going absolutely parabolic ever since I started talking about it a week ago.
But it's not really AI. It's not really AI. They are taking it for themselves. And they will tokenize it to sell it back to us. Yes or no? If governments around the world tokenize water, could they control who has access to the water? Yes, if governments tokenize water, they can explicitly control who has access to the water. By converting water rights or usage permits into water tokens on a blockchain, authorities can utilize smart contracts that automatically enforce specific water quotas, grant access based on verified participant status, or curtail consumption in real time. You post something online they don't like, they'll cut you off in real time. Yes or no, if water gets tokenized, could governments restrict how many gallons per month people use? Yes, governments already have the legal authority to restrict how much water citizens use, regardless of whether it is tokenized. However, digitizing water rights into tokens, such as through blockchain and smart contracts, allows governments or utilities to automate, program, and strictly enforce those limits in real time. And do you want to see what that will look like?
Oh, here I am trying to cook. In China, water is out, so I'm going outside to fix that. So here we have this water card, and all I have to do is go outside here. There's this water station door here, and this is my apartment number 1401. This is my water meter. This is the card that they give you. You take it to the water station, you load the money on it. I put 100 kwai on this, and then all I have to do is to tap. Sorry, not tap. Put it here, and then watch it load my water. It says open, so it's loading back my water for me. Once it's finished, all I have to do is to go back in and my water should be back. You see, excuse that, but my water is back. Yay me! Water Commission, do that and meet them. So
That's what our future will look like with tokenized water. And Trump is talking about tokenizing it. You say something bad online, your little tap card won't turn your water flow back on for you. Yes or no, if water gets tokenized, could governments restrict how many water gallons per month that people could use? Okay, we talked about that. So if you got a family, 3 or 4 people, y'all might just have to take a bath in like 2 inches of water. You might can only wash clothes twice a month. Think about this. Yes or no? Is it possible that if they tokenize water, that people who are non-compliant can be restricted to access to water? Yes, it is technically possible. If a water utility or regulatory framework tokenizes water, the system can be programmed to enforce rules automatically, which could include restricting or shutting off access for non-compliant users. Yes or no? If water is tokenized and put on the blockchain, could the government restrict enemies of the state from having any access to water? Yes. If water allocation is tokenized on a blockchain, governments can directly restrict access. Because tokenized water relies on smart contracts and physical Internet of Things sensors, governments or utility operators with administrative permissions can restrict access to the water. So they won't care if you die if you don't comply. While moving massive amounts of water deep underground requires significant energy, it is a highly effective way to bank water, prevent it from evaporating in hot climates, or create an emergency reservoir. If underground cities were to exist, this technology could be easily adapted to direct water straight to subterranean reservoirs where city inhabitants could access it via standard extraction and treatment systems. Is it completely possible? And it says yes, it is completely possible. I think I got one out of order. Is it technically possible, if there were underground cities, that governments could take water above ground and move it below ground? Yes, this is completely possible and is actively done today. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? Though not strictly for underground cities, the governments and water agencies regularly move surface water from lakes, rivers, and rain underground through a process called managed aquifer recharge. And the data centers are being built around aquifers. Okay? And they can move water to underground cities via that technology. So is it like the Greenbrier Hotel that they are stealing our water literally right from underneath our noses to tokenize it and only give it to the people who are compliant? Yes or no? If governments around the world tokenize water, could they control who has access to water? Yes, if governments tokenize water, they can explicitly control who has access to the water. Are y'all ready? Global control. The book of Revelation indicates that the Antichrist will exert total control over commerce and society, often preventing those without the mark of the beast from buying or selling. Many scholars interpret this to mean he will control vital, life sustaining resources, including food and water, to force compliance. Yes or no? Will people die of thirst without water? Yes. The human body needs water to regulate temperature, eliminate waste, and maintain blood pressure. Without it, severe dehydration sets in, causing blood volume to drop, toxins to build up, and organs to fail. Most people can only survive 3 to 5 days without water. And that's why in Romans 12:20, the Bible says, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If your enemy is thirsty, give him something to drink. Water is about to be scarce, and it is a human need to be able to have water to live. So if you are a Christian and you love God and water is scarce for you, and your enemy is begging you for water, Jesus says to give them a cup of water to drink. And it says, in doing so, you will heap burning coals on their head. They will feel conviction, knowing that you don't have very much water, knowing they made fun of you, knowing they laughed at you, but Jesus in you is telling you to give your enemy, another human being, something to drink. That will convict them of their treatment of you, and God will be honored that you had compassion on your enemy. Why? Because at one time Jesus was an enemy on the cross, and he asked his enemies for water. When Jesus was dying on the cross, one of the 7 things he said was, I thirst. Jesus saying, I thirst from the cross is recorded in the Gospel of John. This moment highlights Jesus's complete physical agony and humanity after hours of suffering. Okay? And when he said, I thirst, instead of giving him water, they stuck like basically a sponge into vinegar and touched it on Jesus's parched, cracked lips, and did not give Jesus water when Jesus said, I thirst. And Jesus said, whatever you do unto the least of these, you've done it unto me. So if our enemies in a time of scarcity and no water needs a drink of water, you give it to them in Jesus' name. Because Mark 9:41 says, for whosoever shall give you a cup of water to drink in my name, because you belong to Christ, verily I say unto you, he shall not lose his reward. Now, what if to look like saviors, after they've extracted all the water from the earth and leave people thirsty, what if after they take the water, then all of a sudden they want to look like humanitarians and saying the data centers are destroying the world and we need to eliminate them? All of a sudden not worried about the cover story and water being needed for AI and shutting down the data centers. Because look what could happen next. If the environmentalists want to preserve water, why are data centers given unrestricted access? Data centers receive massive amounts of water, primarily because they are classified as vital utility customers, and local governments often prioritize them for economic development and tax revenue and job creation. However, this unrestricted access is rapidly changing amid environmental concerns. Yes or no? Is it possible, because of water concerns, that data centers could be closed? Yes, it is entirely possible for data centers to be closed, suspended, or blocked because of water concerns. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? So after they take all the water, they could shut them down for electricity, for the cost of operation. What if this is just the cover story for the transfer of resources and a water grab? We still have to preach the gospel. We still have to show the love of Jesus, even if we've only got a half a cup of water and our enemy asks us for a drink. No matter what is coming, and evil is coming on the land, famine is coming on the land. Trump is already talking about in a food crisis because of fertilizer, because of water, because of the drought. And Jesus says in the last days there's going to be famines. And in our suffering, we still have to show Jesus to our enemies. And you will not lose your reward. Keep serving Jesus, because the last days are defined by deception. Are we in the middle of a deception with this? I love y'all. Keep serving Jesus. We're in the last pages of the book now. I love y'all. Thank you for watching. If you appreciate the content that you find on this channel, would you prayerfully consider supporting the ministry? And y'all, I want to add that we are heading out to Georgia for our new move on Tuesday, early morning Tuesday. And if you feel led to help us, this has been an ungodly amount of money to move. And God has provided through different people, but we're going to be flat broke when we get there. So would you prayerfully consider supporting us in the move when we get settled? I love y'all. Thank you for watching.